All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless Dave here on the Harmless Dave channel, talking about real music and doing it in real time for a few real people out here, just like you and just like me. Hope you're doing well out there. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Trying to rebuild the thing from the ground up here. If you've just discovered that I'm no longer at the other location, you should probably follow me right here. Gonna talk about this cool interview that Bernie Leadon did with rock history music. Before I get to that, here is somebody you should check out. Laurie Morvan. This album came out like 6 years ago, and I don't think she's put out anything since. She has some material prior to this, but this is what got me into Laurie Morvan. This really great blues guitar player who is very contemporary, very accessible. So, if you don't like that blues sound from like 1942, this is blues rock, I would say, with a little bit of an R&B bent, but it's just really good, and she's really good, and I was hoping she might release some additional stuff, but I don't think she has since this album came out. It's called Grab, and she's out there in California for the most part, touring. So if you live out in California or you're going to California, a lot of people are moving out of California, but in any event, that's where Laurie shows up, and her live show is fantastic. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description of this video so you can check out one of her live performances. But you can do the search right here on YouTube and find a lot of her live gigs, which are just fantastic stuff. It's just really good. All right, so Rock History Music, which is a great YouTube channel. I highly recommend it. In the early days, when I first started, I felt like it was in competition, but then I realized that John Bowden, the guy who is the host, is like, he's got a great voice. He's a good-looking dude. He gets great interviews. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to compete with that. So I'll just every so often check out what he's doing over there. And he just interviewed Bernie Leadon from the Eagles. And you know what I've concluded? That the Eagles kind of destroyed both Bernie and Felder. And now, it'd be really fitting to bring Bernie back on, especially after Stuart Smith had to quit. I mean, I like to talk about Felder a lot because it would be cool to see Joe Walsh and Don Felder up there. But it would be even better in some regards to see Bernie Leadon, who was an original member, get the phone call again from Irving Azoff and say, hey, why don't you come back for a few shows? The Eagles are wrapping up soon. I mean, Irv probably knows the exact last date, or maybe he doesn't because he's planning on keeping the Eagles going for a very long time. Get out the cryogenic chambers and have them all get in there. But the interview he did with John Bowden was really good. He said this: shortly after the footage of him dumping the beer on Glenn Frey was put into the documentary, he got a call from Irving Azoff, who said, we're thinking about doing a history and meaning the history tour, and wondered if you'd be interested. Glenn would like to talk to you. So what's really ironic here is, yeah, we're going to include this footage where you dumped the beer on Glenn. Now, the difference between Felder and Bernie here is that Bernie sent a letter to Glenn Frey apologizing for what happened, which is pretty cool. But these guys were all kind of in a drug-induced haze back in those days. I mean, I read Don Felder's book, and it's not pretty as far as the drug use. Felder was, in the book saying things like, I was a good little Christian boy, and then I joined the Eagles, and all of a sudden I'm, doing cocaine and cheating on my wife, which was kind of a real sad thing, and then pretending that, yeah, I wasn't really cheating. I mean, everybody in the band was cheating on whoever, but the drug use, the debauchery was, the 70s, folks. It was the 70s. That's what you hear a lot as far as excuses. People say, well, it was 1978. What did you expect me to be doing at the time? Yeah, I mean, we all fall short. And so, best thing to do is stop doing what you were doing. And I think everybody eventually cleaned up. But the fact that, hey, we've got this footage of you dumping the beer, and Glenn would like to talk to you about doing a tour. So I guess that was kind of like a trade off. Yeah, sure. The footage is great. It'll put me in the documentary and so forth. And the stuff they used with Felder too in the documentary, where I think Don at one point is crying. He gets up and walks out of the room, and they show that. Like he's so sorry for what he did to the great Henley Fry monarchy or whatever. But all of that stuff, I guess, is interesting because people care about that stuff, They want to know all the dirt and all the inside stuff. And look, he dumped a beer on Glenn Fry's head and apologized. So I guess that's not so bad. It's not as bad as like suing the band because you believe they stiffed you on millions of dollars because, you were basically the entire musical songwriter of Hotel California, and you're getting less and less credit, and they're not going to let you be creative and put your songs on albums or put your vocals on songs. So in any event, I do think Bernie Leadon, at least in a way, got to tour right after that with the Eagles, and that was kind of a cool thing. It would be nice, though, if maybe they'd make another phone call these days. Bernie definitely mentions in this interview that they were kind of looking for somebody to bring in, and they couldn't bring Felder back because he sued the band. But they could bring me back because all I did was dump a beer on Glenn's head. And so anyway, and Randy Meisner at the time was not in good shape, and he hadn't been in good shape for many years. And, if anybody should have been brought back earlier, like during that big revival in the 90s, Randy Meisner, who had just done another stint with Poco not too long before, like in 90 and 91. And he sounded great in those days. And obviously, his personal life went way downhill, and just a sad ending to his musical career and just to his life. So anyway, folks, check out that interview with the great John Bowden over on Rock History Music, a guy who knows what he's doing, does really great editing. I mean, this is all I do. I just babble and talk and wave my hands around and point, and it is kind of lame compared to what other people do on this platform. But, I am what I am. And she is who she is. Laurie Morvan, her album Gravity is really good stuff. I mean, you got to go check her out. If you haven't heard her before, and there are a lot of people that discover music thanks to me, because I actually talk about music. I believe this is her last album, but I could be mistaken. Again, she's on tour. You can go to her website, which I believe is like lauriemorvan.com, which makes sense. You could use Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever search engine that makes you feel good about life. Laurie Morvan, she's great, and I don't think you'll be disappointed listening to it. If, again, you are disappointed, then I can't give you a refund, but, I guess I can't give you your time that you've wasted back. But there are worse things to do in life compared to searching for really great music. God bless everyone. Pray for more people who, again, lost their lives in a plane crash. I guess you can't pray for them, but you could pray for their families and pray for people on the ground. And this is in Philadelphia where this happened. And it just, I'm watching the coverage of this, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I'm sure the conspiracy theorists will have something to say, and I don't know. Could be random. Could be just a very random thing, and we just need to pray that the skies are safe because people aren't going to want to fly. I am basically like John Madden. I would rather take the bus from city to city. I do not want to get on an airplane. And I did that not too long ago, and I was white knuckled the whole time. Just not one of my favorite things. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.